So now we're going to look at our last type of solving linear systems, and it's still the elimination method, still trying to get rid of one of those variables. But now if you look at that first example problem, there's something that nothing matches. I don't have a 5y and a positive 5y, or a 2x and a negative 2x. They line up, my x's line up, my y's line up, but I don't have anything that actually matches number-wise. So I need to get one of them to match. So pick a variable. Doesn't matter which one. Pick either x or y. And you want to see if you can find a number that you could multiply one of the equations by that would get those variables to cancel out. For instance, I can see that if I take this bottom equation and multiply it by a -3, that's going to end up giving me a -6x, which would cancel with that positive 6x right there. And that's kind of what I'm looking for. So I'm going to take this bottom equation, I'm going to multiply everything in it by -3. Just like how yesterday we multiplied everything through by a -1. Everything gets -3. And I get -6x plus -9y equaling -15. This now becomes my new equation for the moment. So this equation comes down here, -6x plus -9y equals -15. And the other equation that I haven't even used yet also comes down. So 6x plus 5y equals positive 19. I'm going to add them together just like we have been. The x's cancel. -9 plus 5 is -4y. And -15 plus 19 is positive 4. Divide each side by a -4, and you get y equaling -1. Now that I know that y equals -1, I need to go back into one of the original equations. I'm going to use the 2x plus 3y equals 5. I'm using this one that has a little bit smaller numbers, might be a little bit easier to work with. So 2x plus 3 times -1 needs to equal 5. 2x plus -3 equals 5. I'm going to add 3 to each side to get my variable by itself. And I end up with 2x equaling 8. Divide each side by 2, and I get x equaling 4. So 4 and -1. Ordered pair. And now the last thing to do, just like normal, we need to check them. Back in the original equations again. So 6x plus 5y equals 19. 6 times 4 plus 5 times -1 needs to give me 19. 24 plus -5 needs to give me 19. 19 does in fact give me 19, so my answer checks. Second equation, 2x plus 3y equals 5. 2 times 4 plus 3 times -1 needs to give me 5. 8 plus -3 needs to give me 5. 5 equals 5, and my answer checks. So both my answers checked, so therefore I know my answer is correct. Looking down at the next problem, you'll notice again that my variables don't line up. Those x's and y's don't match. So the very first thing I have to do is take that bottom equation and add -3x to each side. So now what I have is 4x plus 5y equaling 35. And I have -3x plus 2y equaling -9. I want to get something to cancel. In this case, I can't come up with anything to multiply either just the top or just the bottom equation by to get something to cancel. So they're both going to end up being multiplied. The bottom one by 4, the top one by 3, in order to get the x's to cancel. You could also cancel the y's and multiply the bottom one by -5 and the top one by 2. That would be fine as well. So I end up with 12x plus 15y plus 15y equaling 105. And I end up with negative 12x plus 8y equaling negative 36. So in step 1, I now have both of my new equations. So now we go to step 2. In step 2, I take those two new equations again. So the 12x plus 15y equaling 105, and the negative 12x plus 8y equaling negative 36. And I go ahead and I add them together. The x's cancel out, and I end up with 23y equaling 69. Divide both sides by 23, and I get y equals 3. Plug back into one of the original equations. So 2y equals 3x plus negative 9. 2 times 3 equals 3x plus negative 9. 6 equals 3x plus negative 9. Add 9 to each side. And 15 equals 3x. Divide each side by 3. And I get x equaling 5. Final answer, ordered pair, 5, 3. Last thing we have to do is check both of these back in the original equation. So 2y equals 3x plus negative 9. 2 times 5 equals 3. Oh, I have those backwards. Did I write them backwards? No. Oh, I just plugged them in backwards. Okay. 2 times 3, 3 times 5, plus negative 9. 6 equals 15 plus negative 9. 6 equals 6, and my answer checks. Second equation. 4x plus 5y equals 35. 4 times 5 plus 5 times 3 needs to equal 35. 20 plus 15 needs to equal 35. 35 equals 35, and my answer checks. We've now talked about all the different methods of how to solve linear systems. You have graphing, you have substitution. You have elimination, where you can just, the variables cancel automatically. You have elimination, where you have to multiply an equation through by a -1 in order to get a variable to cancel. Then you also have elimination, where you may have to multiply one or both equations by a separate number in order to end up getting something to cancel. Homework, you should have it in front of you. If not, it is on the website. You can look at it or copy the problems down. If you have any questions, please come see me.